The mystery. What if I told you there was a single moment in history when money stopped representing real things and started representing promises instead? A day when owning factories, land, gold, or resources became less important than owning someone else's obligation to pay. A day when debt quietly replaced wealth. You were never told when it happened. There was no global announcement, no emergency broadcast. But from that moment on, the world began rewarding those who lend more than those who produce, those who own paper claims more than those who create real value. And here's the unsettling part. Most economic crises since then haven't been accidents, they've been side effects. So today, we're uncovering the hidden story behind the day debt became more valuable than real wealth, how it happened step by step, why it keeps repeating, and why escaping it may be harder than anyone wants to admit. Part 1. Setting the stage. When wealth was real for most of human history, wealth was tangible, land fed people, livestock reproduced. Gold and silver were scarce, physical, and hard to fake. Debt existed, but it was dangerous. In ancient Mesopotamia, excessive debt regularly led to revolts. Kings would cancel debts entirely to prevent social collapse. In medieval Europe, debt beyond one's means was considered morally suspicious. Even early religious texts warned that endless interest could destroy societies. Back then, debt was a temporary tool, not the foundation of the system. Money represented something real: stored labor, stored resources, stored trust. And crucially, debt was subordinate to wealth, not the other way around. That hierarchy would not last. Part 2. The origins. When debt learned to multiply, the first crack appeared when banking evolved. Early banks didn't create money, they stored it. Goldsmiths issued receipts for gold deposited in vaults. Over time, they noticed something critical. Most people never came to withdraw their gold at the same time. So the goldsmiths did something revolutionary and dangerous. They started lending more receipts than gold they actually had. This was the birth of fractional reserve banking. Debt was no longer limited by physical wealth. It could be expanded. A loan created new money. Repayment destroyed it. From this point forward, money was no longer a thing. It was a contract. But still, debt hadn't yet overtaken real wealth. That would require something bigger. Part 3. The rise. When states chose debt over taxation, the real turning point came when governments realized debt was politically easier than honesty. Raising taxes angered people. Borrowing postponed consequences. European empires financed wars through massive borrowing. Central banks emerged to manage state debt. Bonds became prestigious assets, safe, guaranteed, and interest-bearing. For the first time, owning government debt was considered safer than owning productive assets. Why risk running a business when you could lend to the state and collect interest? Debt became respectable, then powerful. By the 20th century, the system had flipped. Governments didn't borrow occasionally, they borrowed constantly. But one final event would seal debt's dominance forever.